Why play Teemo Top Lane? Well, he is a massive lane bully. He has amazing objective control, he's great into champions who rely on auto-attacking, and his late game shrooms can half health enemies. However, he doesn't bring any hard lockdown, only having a slow and blind, and he relies on kiting so can struggle against hard engage. Teemo's passive is he goes invisible after 1.5 seconds of not doing anything. If he does this in a brush, he maintains the invisibility and can still move around the brush. When Teemo breaks the stealth, he then gains a large amount of bonus attack speed. Teemo's Q is a point and click ability which deals magic damage and blinds the target. Enemy champions that are blinded immediately miss all their basic attacks. Teemo's W has a passive which grants him bonus movement speed when he's not been damaged by an enemy champion in a while. The active gives him a large amount of bonus movement speed for 3 seconds. Teemo's E is just a passive, which empowers all of his basic attacks to deal bonus magic damage on hit and inflict poison. Enemies poison take additional magic damage over 4 seconds. This ability essentially makes all of Teemo's basic attacks hit very hard. Teemo's ultimate throws a mushroom on the floor, which after a second becomes invisible. This will grant sight of the surrounding area and last for 5 minutes. If the mushroom is thrown on top of another mushroom, it will then bounce again in that direction. If an enemy champion walks over this, it will explode, dealing a large amount of poison damage to them over 4 seconds, as well as slowing them and revealing them. This works on an ammo system where he can store 3, 4, or 5 depending on the rank of the ability. The combo with Teemo is incredibly simple, where you start with an auto attack into W before using auto attack into Q, spamming away with more attacks. And if you can ever throw out a mushroom where it's likely to hit your opponent, go for it. But it's far more common that you'll instead be kiting them over your mushrooms. For matchups, Teemo is great into champions who can simply kite and bully all game long, and he can struggle into champions with hard engage who can easily get on top of him. For runes, PTA is a great choice for dueling and bullying in lane, and Dark Harvest is a great choice to scale into a late game mushroom god. For build order, start Ring and Pots into Nash's Tooth and tier 2 boots. After this, Eleandries and Malignants are great pickups before finishing your build with any of these as needed. For skill order, start E then Q then W before maxing E then Q then W, taking ult whenever you can. For summoner spells, take Flash and Ignite. Starting the game, your main focus is going to be on farming hard and bullying hard. From level 1, your auto attack still amazing damage, so whenever you can shoot your opponent, go for it. These first few levels are amazing for Teemo, where if you can get brush control, you can simply keep popping out and dealing a ton of damage to your opponent. And your opponent will have to play back and respect it or risk dying. And you always want to be looking for opportunities to simply start running at your opponent, landing auto attack after auto attack, as if you can kite them forever, they'll have to run back to their tower for safety. At level 6, a lot of champions get really impactful ultimates. Where Teemo's ultimate is great, it's also not great in a duel. So if your opponent does have a big 1v1 ultimate, you do need to be careful at this point. Entering the mid game, you want to take your tower as soon as possible to open up the map. Also, it's incredibly important to get to level 11 where your shrooms start dealing great damage. Keep pushing out your lane and get into objectives early to start shrooming up the place. Entering late game team fights, ideally you'll have shroomed up the area beforehand so you can kite enemies over the shrooms. Otherwise, you want to play the backline carry role. You want to spam away with your high damage attacks on anything nearby as they will hit like a truck. Use Q to protect yourself or deal additional damage and keep using W to kite them over your shrooms.